Okay, in today's topic, we discuss on bearings, and the learning objective is to use a bearing to specify a direction. And the key words we are talking about is the bearing and the three-figure bearing. So before we embark on this, students should know how to use a protractor to measure and draw angles. This was our previous lesson. Okay, now say that bearing are the clockwise angular relationship between two distances placed measured in degree from the north. So look at this sentence now. The main thing we are going to pick out here is the clockwise and the north, which means that a bearing moved from the north, which moved for a clockwise direction. If I have this to be a line, it must move from the north clockwise back toward the north. So in this case now, we said in the diagram below, the bearing of B from A is 060 degree. That means it's 60 degree. B from A, you see the line, it moves from north to B. So the bearing of B from taken out from here, A, is 60 degree. So a bearing can have any value from 0 to 360 because the total sum of a circle is 360 degree. So it is usual to give all bearing as three figures. This is known as three-figure bearing. What it means is, if I have 60 degree as a bearing, what it means is 060. If I have 32 degree as a bearing, what it means is 032, because it must have three figures. If I have 50 degree as a bearing, what it means is 050. Get that? Okay, let's look at some questions. Or before that, we have to note there are three bearings that you should know. Three bearings you should know, or 8 bearing, of course, 8 bearing you should know are this bearing from here is north. When you move clockwise direction, you move to northeast, east, southeast, south, southwest, west, and the north. Okay, let's look at this. If I have a line, okay, in this case, here is the north, while here is the south. Okay, this place is the east, while here is the west. Now, this is the north. The starting point is what? 0, 0. It must be in three figures. Starting point is 0, 0. It makes angle 90 here, which makes there to be what? 90 degree. It makes another 90 here, 90 plus 90, which makes here to be what? 180 degree. It makes here also to be 90, 180 plus 90, which makes here to be what? 270 degree. And it makes here to be 90, which goes back to what? 360 degree. So the total point there is 360. Now, from this point to this point, any angle here, if we have an angle here, that gives us north east. You see that? North first before east. We have that to be north east. Which means if we divide this 90 into 2, we have that to be what? 45. That is how we have 0.45. Now, any angle we make here, that gives us what? It's in between south and east. We have that to be what? Southeast. And when you divide it into 2, we have here to be 335 degree. That's how we have here. So in this case also, it's in between south and west. So we have here to be what? Southwest. And any angle it makes here, if you divide into 2 here, 225 degree. That's how we have here. So any angle it makes here is southwest. Likewise here, finally, we go back to what? Northwest. So these are the 8 bearing that you should know. Okay, Now let's look at some question. This says find the bearing of B from A. The bearing of B from A. From A, it moves from the north, this is north, to the line B. That means the bearing of B from A is 52 degrees. In this case also, the bearing of B from A, now look at, it moves from here to here is 280. That means if I said 360 minus 280 will give me this angle here. And that is the bearing of B from A. So let's check 360 minus 280. That gives us what? 80 degree. So that means that here is what? 80 degree, and the angle from B to A, angle of B from A is 80 degree. Okay, this one says find the bearing of A from B. The bearing of A from B. From B means it must go, it's not here, it must go from north clockwise. It must go from here to here clockwise. You see that I cannot just say yes, no, it's wrong. It must go from A clockwise to this point. You get that? Now, for me to find this angle, first of all, I must know what is this. Once I know what is this angle, subtract it from 360, that will give us this angle. Now, for me to know what is this angle, I know that the interior angle is equal to 180. We did that when we were talking about parallel line. Interior angle, sum of interior angle is 180. So 180 minus this will give us this. So say 180 minus 52. What do we have it? 180 minus 52 will give us what? 128. So if here is 128, if here is 128, now what will be here? This is what we are looking for. We say 360 minus 128 degree. 360 minus 128, that gives us what? 232. That means that this angle is 232. This is what we are looking for. 232. So the bearing of A from B is 232. Okay. Now, let's consider in this case also, if you're asked to find the bearing of A from B, the angle of B from A we know is 80. Now, A from B, I'm going to start from the north, move clockwise. You see, B from A, I started from the north, move here. That's how we got this. Then from A, from B, I'm going to start here. So what I'm going to do is, from here to here, you're looking for, since here is 80, 180 minus 80 will be 100. Here is 100, is it not so? So 360 minus 100 will give us that. So here will be 260. Fine and good. That's how we find it. Okay, that's good. Now look at this. Says, look at this map. By measuring angles, find the bearing of A, B from E. Let's pick the one after the other. The bearing of B from E. I will make a straight line from here. Make a straight line from B to E. Since I make a straight line, I will never, don't forget to make out your north pole. Your north pole. You get that? Which means it's going to move from north clockwise. Move from north clockwise. Now what are we looking at? B from E. From E, I will move from here, clockwise direction, back here to this point. This is what I'm looking for. And before I can find this with my protractor, I'll first of all look for this small angle. Now minus 360 will give us this big angle. Okay. Now let's look at this. I'll pick up my protractor, okay, put it in such a way that this middle will be at the center of the 90, okay. Now this straight line will be at 360. Make sure it goes where we have done measuring of angle before, so this will not be a problem to you. So if I look at this now, you see that it goes to what? Okay, it goes to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. That goes to 62. If I look at it very well, it goes to 62. Okay, so that means that here already is 62. So the angle I'm looking for will now be 360 minus 62. So if I check 360 minus 62, that will be 298. So the angle here is 298. Therefore, the bearing of B from E is what? 298 degree. Okay, now let's look at this also. The bearing of D from C. D from C. I'm going to draw a straight line connecting both C and D. Don't forget put your north pole to be a straight line. Then I'm looking for D from C. From C means I'm going to move from north clockwise direction to here. You get that? So I'll use my protractor to do that. Here I will measure out this angle. See that? Measuring this angle 180, 0. From here, I'll measure from here to here. So if you look at from here to here now, we have here to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. Let me check it very well. That gives us 125, okay? 125. So here is 125 degree. So that's the angle of D from C. 125 degree. Now the last one says the angle, the bearing of A from E. Bearing of A from E. In that case also, I will make a straight line from A to E. Don't forget to put your north pole. I've already put my north pole here. So the bearing of A from E means that I'm going to, sorry, let me remove this one first. Okay. Let me remove this line first so that we know what we are doing. Okay. Now that gives me what? The bearing of, okay, wipe away this. Okay, that's fine. So the bearing of A from E will give us, I'm going to check from north pole to clockwise direction to this point. So what I'm going to do is to find the bearing of this point, the angle of this point, minus the 360, that will give me this. And for me to do that, you have to make use of your protractor. Okay. Okay, in that case, you make use of a protractor, make here to be the 90. You make that to be the 90. Okay. Then, any angle you find here, subtract 360, that will give you this angle. So that's how we solve the problem. Thank you for listening. Any questions?